Hello, hello, and I welcome you to the final show, at least for 2022, as you are now tuned into a brand spanking new Monday Night Live. That's right, aka the Hangout Stream, aka the Chill Stream, baby. All fired up and having some fun like a filthy son of a gun for December 26th, 2022, and brought to you by yours truly, the man, broadcasting from behind the curtain. You know who I am. Because if you don't know by now, you can visit www.livefreeliverich.com or simply Google this name and you can find out. How you guys doing? You have a good week or what? How are things going? You got some projects? You getting your New Year's resolutions all written down and planned out? You got some projects that you're aspiring to get to, things that maybe perhaps you've been sweeping under the rug throughout the year. And you're going to take it out. You can say, next year is time to get serious. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. Is that you? Is that you right now watching me, watching you, watching me? Let me clue you in on what's going on tonight. Tonight, not only is this the final episode of Monday Night Live for 2022, I am going to be watching, or will be watching, the season finale of an indie book review show called Mean Reviews. That's right. Subtitle, No Stars Given. I noticed a little play on words on that one. No stars given as in no F's given. I like it. I also have a major hot topic development to talk about. And I will also be, tonight, I'll be reading an episode from a serialized sci-fi action series that has quite the epic premise, I have to say. And then, of course, I will be taking some time to address your comments and we'll be getting all caught up as far as what's been going on throughout the week and all that. But as always, first things first, I like to slide right inside my first segment of the night, where I like to shine a spotlight on some books that are currently available or coming soon to an online store near you. Yes, it's true. Let me get my videos up. Yep. Okay. Let's see what we got. First up tonight, this is a second two-time contributor to the show. We have from Warwick Beresford. This is from Warwick Beresford. Just shares a link to their book, the My Little Black Distress. Is poetry. Poetry is twisted. Don't trust her. Book 2 by Simon Warwick Beresford. All right, let's check it out. Lurkers in the chat, you want to drop me a hello so I know where you're at. Don't be shy. I just like to know who took the time to stop by. All right. There is the cover, and here is the blurb. Short one, just says, rhyming poems about zombies, evil like they should be, mermaids, female vampires, fictional serial killers, driders, fairies, nefarious plants, spirits, goddesses, aliens, AI, giants, a dragon, tentacle monsters, rape, lesbianism, feminization, death, war, and more. Did you catch all that? 187 pages of poetic erotica. Erotica. With all those creatures and whatnot. Sounds like quite the compelling mix. Herman. Hello, Herman. D.A. Bell. D.A. Bell is here. All right. Yeah, that's right. The whole 9 yards. Got everything. Everything except the kitchen sink, apparently. Who's up next tonight? Hold on. Let me check. This one. Yes, this one is directly from the Discord. We'll be talking about the Discord a little later tonight. Do have something to check out on there as well. A little extra something. But this one is called The Intergalactic Information Superhighway by Christopher Magnus. I do think that is a cool last name, by the way. Mr. Magnus. Mr. Magnus, I presume. Sounds like the name of like a evil wizard or something. Or just a wizard in general. Doesn't necessarily have to be evil, I suppose. Christopher, if you're watching this, if you were a wizard, I suppose if you were going to be an evil wizard, you probably wouldn't admit it, would you? Let's get that cover up there. It's space. A nebula. Here's the blurb. On an intergalactic quest for revenge, Xantarth finds himself at odds with where to draw the line between retribution and bloodlust. With the killer of his wife within reach, he must now find the strength to combat this most powerful and sinister of evils. While traveling across space, he visits exotic planets, unites with former allies, and forms new friendships in order to unlock the power that resides inside himself. Will he be able to achieve his vengeance and remain in the path of the light, or will the darkness of his past ultimately consume him? From first-time author Christopher Magnus comes the science fiction action adventure, The Intergalactic Information Superhighway. 579 pages of science fiction adventure. All right. I am interested to know how the the title of that book kind of works in there. The blurb and the title of that book kind of seem like they're like one of these things is not like the other type of deal. All right, who's up next? We have from Twitter comes J. Leonard Schwartz. J. Leonard Schwartz. He says, tricksters, crackers. What? Tricksters, crackers, and gods, sir. Is that a racial slur? Did you seriously just put like a racial slur in your quotation there or part of your title? Olympian gods, climate crisis in Florida. Oh, and lots pizza and psychotropic properties. A new definition for absurd satire and climate fiction. All right, this one seems, I got to see what this is about. This one just sounds completely freaking bonkers. This is Tricksters, Crackers, and Gods. Roy and Judd's Inferno and Florida Odyssey from the Lost Florida series by J. Leonard Schwartz. All right. Of course, oh yeah, there's 3 books in this. This is a 3-book series or trilogy, if you will. Of course, all these books are suggested to me directly by the publishers themselves. I never know exactly what I'm going to get. Like I say, from the publishers themselves, whether they be self-pubbed author or it's from an indie press company or indie independent label. All right, there's the cover. One thing I will note about the cover right now is it looks like we have like tarot deck cards on here. So just kind of making a note of that. I don't know how that kind of fits into the story. Let's check out the blurb, shall we? While Florida faces an unusual bout of climate crisis, Roy the trickster and Jugmonger, a Florida cracker, set off on a surreal road trip to unravel the mystery of a pizza with psychotropic properties. Psychotropic properties. I think that's how you pronounce it. They end up traveling to the ancient Greek underworld and are forced to contend with vengeful, irate, and homicidal Olympian gods and spirits, the devil, misplaced rednecks, and a sinister plot to destroy both the state of Florida and the entire realm of the afterlife in a nuclear meltdown. All this and tarot cards too. Okay, so at least there it's addressed. A satirical cautionary tale of climate fiction, mixing Florida history, ancient Greek mythology, the occult, and cornball humor. This screwball adventure makes Homer's Odyssey and Dante's Inferno a walk in the park. Based in the absurd world of Lost Florida, created by J. Leonard Schwartz, the author of Oh Little Central Florida Town of Bedlam and Climate Riot. Interesting. 525 pages of absurdity in satire fiction. It has to be in that. I've covered some pretty off-the-wall indie books on this show. I have to say that one definitely is up there as far as being one of the most ridiculous sounding books. All right, we got one more for tonight. We'll wrap it up for this week. We got it's another one from Twitter from Stefan Coleman. It says he actually writes a little note. He says, "Thank you much for the shout out. For those who don't know me, hi, I'm Stefan. I write books and make YouTube videos." Oh, so apparently he has his own YouTube channel as well. "And to prove I'm not lying, here's my book. So check it out." And this is his book entitled Red Horizon. This is book 1 of the Firebrand series. It's an epic coming-of-age high fantasy adventure for adults, teens, and kids. So it's an all-ages read. It's for what I mean is for adults, but it's okay for teens and kids as well. I wonder if that's what he means by that. Let's check it out. See if we can learn any more from the blurb here. Did you guys have yourself a Merry Christmas? Did you get some new socks or what? Some new underwear? Did you get some top shelf whiskey? A box of cigars or anything like that? All right, there is the book cover. Let's check out this blurb now. Let's see what this is all about. All right. When darkness falls upon Lircy and nightmares take on form, 10 friends unite a shattered kingdom, and forgotten hope returns. Joshian Farstrid desired a simple life. He had his place on the ships and a stable future. He had friends who trusted him, family who loved him, and a village who believed in him, and he wanted nothing more. Callian desired the sea. He had his books, his maps, a promised spot on his father's ship, and now, with his spear and the authority to go, his world was open. His own adventure was just beyond the horizon, and he was ready to write it himself. But when a young lord crashes offshore, and a race against time determines whether his life is forfeit or saved, they're plunged into a world that had been nothing but story. As the shadow returns across Lircy, they discover that the legends they drew inspiration on are actually history. Their nightmares are the reality the world is about to face, and their heroes are not distant figments, but rather closer than they thought. In another part of the world, the fires of Malgalon are rekindled after 1,000 years, and the ancient guardians prepare for war. Are you ready? Are you ready? 12 to 18 years, reading age, it says on here. 387 pages of coming of age fantasy, teen, young adult coming of age fantasy. That's what it says on here. That is Firebrand, book 1, the Red Horizon, or Firebrand this is Firebrand series, book 1, entitled Red Horizon by Stefan Coleman. I believe that is, so that's his debut novel, I suppose. I have to reach out to him on Twitter and see if that's the case. Three days shoveling, 2 days cooking. Shoveling. Jeez, shoveling? You don't have snow blower or nothing? You live up north? I'm in Maine, and we got a lot of rain. It was almost like a heat wave during the day where we had rain and a crap ton of wind. And then the temperatures went down, and I don't know, I didn't have to go outside, so I don't know if it was just if it iced over. It didn't look like it was too bad. Yeah, there was some, actually, now that I think of it, there was some snow there. It was like a few days ago. It's all pretty much melted now. It was as if we'd never even had any snow. What is that? Rum. You are a rum man, are you? I think rum is okay. I can drink. I think rum is like a good mixer. What is that? You have you use rum and make some White Russians or something like that. I can drink rum straight, but it depends. Like a spiced rum, I can drink straight, or like actually I drink it. I would drink it like on the rocks, but it's better as a mixer, I think. I drink, but I would drink whiskey straight. I would drink whiskey on the rocks, so like Scotch or bourbon. Give me a nice smooth Scotch or a nice spicy bourbon, and I'll call it good. Like give me like a Maker's Mark or something like that. Jefferson's. Oh man, it's been, believe it or not, it's actually been years since I've had a good stiff drink. I don't think I've had a drink since. I've never had a problem with booze, but it's just so happened to work out that way that I actually haven't had the desire, I guess, to have a drink. But since, I don't know, I want to say it's been since like maybe late 2019 or 2020 since the last time I had a drink. Plot twist. The mother-in-law's snowblower broke. Yeah. I guess they tend to do that, huh? I like cigars too. It's been a while since I've had a nice fine cigar. The only thing about that is you can't smoke inside. Can't smoke inside with cigars because they'll stink up the whole joint unless you have very, very good ventilation. So it's like one of those things, especially when you live in Maine. It's like the only time you can really, unless you have a room where you can smoke, like a enclosed deck or something like that, where you can have put like a little space heater or something out there. You really can't. You can only smoke like during summertime or springtime, unless you go to like a cigar lounge, which we do have. I think we do have it. I know we have at least one cigar lounge in this state where you can go order drinks, whatever you can light up. But nothing local though. I wish there was. If there was a local place, like I'd probably go and just hang out there. If they got some Wi-Fi or something like that, go there, have a smoke. So we should bring back, gentlemen's clubs. And I don't mean gentlemen's clubs as in like a strip joint, like a gentleman's club, but just like a good old fashioned, like a gentleman's club. You know what I mean? Where it's like you just go in there. Maybe you have like a membership, maybe not, maybe it's unnecessary, but really that's when I used to go out to bars and clubs quite a bit. And anytime it was getting to the point where anytime there was like no hot nights anymore. Like people just weren't going out to the bars like they used to, especially after like when the whole event that shall not be named went down in 2019, 2020. Yeah, that pretty much put the nail in the coffin in terms of bars and stuff like that. It just became like insufferable to go to. It was like when they had like the whole like mandate thing with like masks and whatnot. It was like, what's the freaking point? Like, what is all this? I didn't subscribe to all that nonsense, so I just didn't go. But it was pretty slow anyways. Like, you go to the bars and stuff and it was nothing but dudes there anyways. So it was effectively a gentleman's club in that respect. But it was a sausage fest. What else we got here? Let's go to the next one. So those were the books. Just let me say, those were the books for this week, ladies and gentlemen. And tune in tomorrow. I will be posting the poll live on the channel. The poll will be going live. You go to the community tab on the channel and you can vote for which one out of those 4 books you thought had the most text appeal. So in other words, which one out of those 4 books would you be most likely to pick up? And if you would like to discover more from the independent market, you can head on over to my shorts tab or my playlist tab and open up some mystery packs. Yes, inside each mystery pack, that you will find a cover card which will reveal a cover of a book that was recognized by the LFLR network from the independent market. And it also includes a link in the description section to an editorial written on that particular piece of work by yours truly. So two ways you can discover books from the independent market. One here, tuning into this show and checking out mystery packs. Of course, I need to get back on track with my mystery packs. I haven't done one of those in a while. I do have some coming up. I have been reading. I'm more of a mood reader. So I kind of I read when I feel like it, when I get in the mood to read. And I don't know, just been busy doing other things and just haven't really been reading, to be honest with you. But I have, but I did recently, I finished a book, and I did finish the editorial on that one. So I should be posting that. I'll be posting that later this week. And then I got another book. So I did 2 books. I think I'm going to start doing 2 things. One thing I noticed is anthologies. Anthologies are interesting. And being someone who writes short stories himself, I think that I'm going to actually start getting into more anthologies. People are posting anthologies. And also, I think anthologies are kind of looked at as kind of like a stepping stone for aspiring authors out there. So for instance, I know in the Booktube circles, there's Regina from Regina's Haunted Library, who I've read a piece of work from her on the show before. She's actually put together anthology projects and included other people from around Booktube, Authortube, and stuff like that, and submit stories. And she's been doing one of those annually for at least the past few years. So anthologies like that, I might start doing more of those, reading those. And the way that I do it is I break it down. So each and every single story in that particular anthology piece will get a little bit of I'd say a little something about each and every single entry in the book itself, as well as talking about the overall presentation of the anthology, how it's curated and whatnot. But enough about that. Let's move into some comments. Let's see what you guys have been up to throughout the week on the channel. This is just kind of an as needed kind of segment where I call Your Comments Matter. Yes, my comment section is not there to satisfy AI algorithms, people. I want to hear from you guys. The comment section is there so that I have an opportunity to engage with those of you who give my videos the time of day. And I certainly appreciate that, which is why I've dedicated an entire segment to addressing the comments that you fine folks leave in the dedicated comment section down below, which is kind of like there's enough space. You can actually leave quite a lengthy comment in the comment section. So anytime I get a long, thoughtful comment, which is almost like a glorified blog post, if you will, I am definitely gets me excited to address that live on the air. So let's see what we have. It's definitely something that, you know, kind of it harkens back to the early days of YouTube, where the comment sections used to be buzzing. You know, I'm trying to bring that back a little bit, try to personalize it a little bit, you know, by addressing your comments live on the air. I think it has that kind of effect. At least I'd like to think so. All right, let's see what we have here. Okay, and let's see, let's put our banner up there. This is Your Comments Matter. Oh, and also, I forgot to put that part. So we have just a little thing, just a little added thing. I thought I would just to spice up this segment a little bit. YouTube just recently rolled out this thing that they're calling YouTube handles, which is effectively just like the same thing as like Twitter handles or Instagram handles. So you see, you'll have now, if you notice on your channel, if you click on your channel, underneath the title of your channel, you're going to have one of these little @ symbols, and you're going to have your handle. So that's like, if you basically a way of making sure, like authenticating your channel. So if you want to know that you're on the official channel, you're on my official channel or whatever, it's going to have the @ symbol and have my name, and then I put that up there. So and YouTube tells me in my comment section, they'll say, well, I'll show you. So you'll see here in my comment section here. So you see here, they have like this little symbol next to their name. It says top commenter. So it says received one of the highest number of hearts from you. So anytime whoever has this little symbol next to their name, I'm just going to go ahead and add their YouTube handle to the banner. So I kind of give you guys a little shout out that way to kind of keep track, show who's who in the comment section on the channel. I want to see you guys start lighting up this comment section. Let's get this thing on a roll, shall we? Anyways, I had one comment during the week left in the comment section. Now, of course, these could be comments from any video from across the channel. And this one just so happened to be left from last week's Monday Night Live, entitled Fame and Folly. And this is from the Eurotrash podcast channel on YouTube. So I had featured his a video from his channel during that show where they were talking about the Mongols taking over Europe, or did not take over Europe. He just writes, he just laughs. I appreciate the share. And he says, will return the favor as soon as I can. Love the concept of your show. Well, thanks for that. Appreciate the comment and the compliment. Let's move on to something else. Speaking of YouTube channels, I would like to give a little shout out to kind of preface this next segment here. While I'm doing that, you guys in the chat, you guys, you got anything you want to talk about, anything you want to bring up, please feel free. It's kind of, you know, feel free to just advertise whatever you want to say. Anything you got to say. You know, you want to comment about what's going on, what have you. This is your show, man, just as much as it's mine. as far as I'm concerned. All right, let's see what we have here. So I have a preface this segment here. All right, so I got an article. I was given the heads up, or I was made aware of this article courtesy of a channel here in the Authortube realm of YouTube. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the Creative Pen. So you can see I did their handle there. So if you just type in, what's cool about these handles is you can actually just type that right in the URL. So you can do, excuse me, youtube.com/@the-creative-pen, pen with 2 N's, and it'll bring you right to their channel. Anyways, this was a video that I'd watched. As you can see where I'm getting at here. It says co-writing fiction with generative AI. Yes, writers. We are not going to be unaffected by this whole artificial intelligence thing. Just I'm going to get into it here in our next segment. But anyways, that was the video. I'm not going to be addressing what was talked about in this particular video from their channel. I just wanted to give the channel a quick shout out for making me aware of the article that I will be addressing in this next segment. So if you guys want to check them out, I will be leaving a link. You can look it up just by name, or I will be leaving a link to the channel in the description. All right. So let's get into it. This is a little segment I like to call Hot Topic for Content Creators. Hot Topic for Content Creators. This is where I pitch a hot topic to you guys, and then you guys turn around and create your own content based on the topic at hand, and or you go ahead and drop some comments down below. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what's going on in your mind as far as what's going on with this topic. And we can kind of have a little back and forth discussion. And if you decide to make a video, you can tag me in that video, or go ahead, get in contact with me through any of my social media and just share a link to that video to let me know that you uploaded said video on said topic. And I will address your video live on the air. That's right. Today, we're revisiting a hot topic that I pitched already. In the prompt was art and artificial intelligence. And today, actually have an article. We've discussed one thing so far in the conversation. It's an ongoing conversation where we're kind of embroidering the topic as different subjects arise surrounding said topic. And one of the things we talked about was the possibility for copyright claim litigation or lawsuits or anything like that. And apparently, that is what has come up. And this is an article that comes from Wired. It's called "This Copyright Lawsuit Could Shape the Future of Generative AI." All right, so let's check out the article and see what's going on here. All right, so this is from Wired.com. And let's see, algorithms. So here's a little caption here: algorithms that create art, text. Yeah, there's algorithms, mind you, there's algorithms that create text as well. What was it? The OpenAI the one that Elon Musk was involved with, I believe it was the Open AI thing, that can actually do text as well. So it's like a speech prompted AI. So anyways, let's go on here. So it says algorithms that create art, text, and code are spreading fast, but legal challenges could throw a wrench in the works. Copy AI, the way that they're using it. So this is what I was going to bring up. So before we get into the lawsuit thing, let's talk about that a little bit. So basically, it's like the Open AI thing. So what it does is like you can ask. It's like a conversational thing. So it's like you are asking the AI to do something. So it's the same thing as kind of like the image generation AI, except that it's just all text based. So like you could ask the AI questions and it provides you with answers. That's all it is text based AI. But you can ask it different things. So you can say, you can ask the AI to specifically tell you a story. So you can say AI. So you can say, tell me a story about, and you could add in some random details. So like you could in other words, you are prompting the AI to tell you a story based on specific details or a prompt or what have you. And then the AI is effectively writing a story. Or starting a story, and then you could go back and you can kind of refine it and do something like that. Not very good, pretty clumsy, it's clunky. But the thing about it is people are also using it, like say, for instance, like answer questions for like schoolwork or something like that, asking the AI different questions. Or also you could ask the AI, which this is kind of a eerie thing if you really think about it, but you can actually ask the AI to generate code, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. Because if the AI can generate code, so the AI itself can write in computer language. And I think that's nuts. So basically, you're asking the AI asking it to write some code that does a specific function of some sort. I imagine that you probably have to know how to ask the AI. Like, in other words, there must be some sort of learning curve in terms of like how you have to word your questions so that the AI understands exactly what it is that you're asking of it. But still, I mean, I feel like, if we're heading down that road, we're just really just a hop, skip, and a jump away before AI is kind of creating its own, that you'll have AI generated malware, AI generated, AI generated malware and viruses and stuff like that. So I'm just like, wow, that's freaking awesome. AI, please write a code so I can hack into the Pentagon, says the generic terrorist. All right. The tech industry might be reeling from a wave of layoffs. Let's see what we got here. Hold on. All right. The tech industry might be reeling from a wave of layoffs, a dramatic crypto crash, and ongoing turmoil at Twitter. But despite those clouds, some investors and entrepreneurs are already eyeing a new boom built on artificial intelligence that can generate coherent text, captivating images, and functional computer code. But that new frontier has a looming cloud of its own. You don't say. Apparently, there's a little bit of maybe that's just if you want to hear the article. I'm just going to read it. A class action lawsuit filed in a federal court in California this month takes aim at GitHub Copilot, It's a powerful tool that automatically writes working code when a programmer starts typing. So that's interesting. It's not even a lawsuit against the image generators. It's a class action lawsuit filed in federal court on GitHub Copilot. So let's see. The coder behind the suit argues that GitHub is infringing copyright because it does not provide attribution when Copilot reproduces open source code covered by a license requiring it. Interesting. Similar type of form too with the image AI. I mean, there's just like with images, you can use like you can buy licensing for like stock images and stuff like that, but you can't just snatch up stock images and just use them willy-nilly without first acquiring a license to use them. So it's the same type of idea as far as that goes. The lawsuit is at an early stage, and its prospects are unclear because the underlying technology is novel, has not faced much legal scrutiny. But legal experts say it may have a bearing on the broader trend of generative AI tools. AI programs that generate paintings, photographs, and illustrations from a prompt, as well as text for marketing copy, are all built with algorithms trained on previous work produced by humans. So see, they keep saying, I'm getting two fucking sides here. Can someone make up their mind, please? Do these generative AIs, are they using works or are they not using works? Because one thing I've heard two different stories here so far, that this generative AI does not scrape the internet, and that it doesn't scrape the internet for works, and two, that it's creating completely new works. So there's that. But this is saying that it's trained on previous works, which technically means that it is, in a way, using works, because one of the stances that have been taken as far as this generative AI stuff, at least with the image generators, is that effectively what the image generators are doing is they compared it to a human being looking up, like if you wanted, for the specific example that I remember was, if a human being wanted to draw a picture of a tiger, right? And you wanted something to reference, you could Google pictures of tigers, and then you are referencing those pictures as you make your own original illustration. But that's a stretch as far as I'm concerned, because you are insinuating that the AI has an imagination of its own, and that's not. Everyone who understands just understands computer code in the slightest bit would know that that's bullshit. The computer needs an input in order for there to be an output. The computer does not have an imagination. It doesn't have a brain. It has strings of code, and it's like and the code is not like a brain as much as the code is more like a fine-tuned machine. And you got to have material put into that machine in order for that machine to work a certain way and then spit out something on the other end. So if the algorithm or the code, the AI, is trained on previous works, then technically, in a technical sense, the referencing is literal in the sense that it has to process that image. It's processing that image. And if it's processing that image like a machine would process materials in order to spit out something new on the other end, then it's not like a human being using their imagination and just visualizing something with their eyes and then using their own imagination and just kind of, doing it that way. It's not the same. It's not the same. It would be like, okay, it would be more, if I were to compare it to anything, it would be more equivalent of the human being taking that image online and then putting a piece of tracing paper over it and then hand tracing that image, but then adding things to it or changing it after the fact. Like in other words, they're training their hand, they're tracing that image over and over and over again until they have the muscle memory. Okay, this is how you draw a tiger. And then they can start messing with it from that point onwards, because now they have the muscle memory, say, okay, this is how you draw a tiger. And now I'm going to start messing with it and putting it in different, stances and whatnot. That would make a lot more sense. In which case, I guess there would be an argument to be made. I have to say, maybe if that were the case, but still technically they're using the image to train the AI. So therefore it's in the code, whereas the human being has the benefit of doubt. You know what I'm saying? If they're not publishing their all the traced works and stuff like that when they were just practicing, it's not really the same, because that's in their private collection. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can be like, oh, this person only drawn tigers because, they're biting my style or whatever. They were tracing tigers by a specific artist. I'm kind of going off the rails here. Let's see what you guys have to say in the chat. Copy AI. All right, let me go back here. I want to see what you guys are saying. So D.A. Bell writes, I've done my fair share of AI. I don't like them. Art AI is ugly without some image uploaded. Art AI looks... Wait. Art AI is ugly without some image uploaded. Art AI looks good, but there's no passion behind it. Writing AI is clumsy, like you stated. Yeah, that's what it seems like. There was actually, I forget where I saw it, but there was someone on Authortube that I had saw that they were actually using like one of the text to prompt AIs to try to write something, and it was a mess. You can't the prompted text. The conversation AI, it's a speaking AI, but you can get like the text layout of what it's saying. So it's almost like you're having a text conversation back and forth. You know what I'm talking about. And it's it's a little bit it's a mess. So D.A. Bell goes on, he writes, GitHub owned by Microsoft. That's big. Herman chimes in. Herman says, this is what I've been warning about. You can't use copyrighted source material without permission. And this is doubly true when you try to sell the end result. And yeah, I mean, it's getting hairy. It's getting dicey. Let's just say that. I kind of, definitely agree with you on that one. Let's see. D.A. Bell, depends. Some generative AI does scrape the internet. Others don't do it. You see? And that's where it gets confusing to me. And also we covered that article. Also, I don't know if you heard about that, DA, but there was the DeviantArt website getting in on the generative AI image game. And they are basically, what it sounded like is they were trying to position themselves as like the only safe platform for artists. That's what it sounded like to me. And I thought that was kind of weird. And that's where they were talking about they have a directive in place to protect the artist's work from those very type of generative AI apps that do scrape the internet. So basically they may be able to scrape the internet, but there's code or any deviants, what they call deviants on that website that are uploaded, can have like some sort of special encryption on them, so which will actually protect them against AI, generative AI models. And so Herman goes on and says, AI has to be trained. And so such weird terminology too, isn't it? Training it? What is this, fucking Skynet? It's becoming self-aware. It's just a matter of time, folks. Goes on to say, I worked on a lane change AI that had to be trained. Is that lane change? What does that mean? Oh, road. Okay. I worked on a lane change AI that had to be trained with images of road conditions. So these AI systems are being trained on existing works. Interesting. Oh, yeah. With the self-driving cars. Interesting. D.A. Bell goes on. He says, I've used one of the mobile apps, Wonder AI, where the AI was clearly using comic book covers as inspiration. I meant art AI is ugly when there's no reference being uploaded for the AI to use. Oh, okay. So when the AI is using its alleged imagination, when the AI is drawing a human with no reference, they usually look horrible. I heard of that. Like they have like 6 fingers and 7 toes and all that. In all fairness, hands and feet are difficult to draw or difficult to illustrate for humans and robots alike, I suppose. Let's go on with the rest of this article here. So visual artists have been the first to question the legality and ethics of AI that incorporates existing work. Some people who make a living from their visual creativity are upset that AI art tools trained on their work can then produce new images in the same style. The Recording Industry Association of America, a music industry group, has signaled that AI-powered music generation, Jesus Christ, we're hitting all forms of media, people. Nobody's safe. Hide your wives, hide your kids. They're coming for them next. And remixing could be a new area of copyright concern. Quote, this whole arc that we're seeing right now, this generative AI space, what does it mean for these new products to be sucking up the work of these creators? End quote, says Matthew Butterick, a designer, programmer, and lawyer who brought the lawsuit against GitHub. Matthew Butterick, remember that name. Copilot is a powerful example of the creative and commercial potential of generative AI technology. The tool was created by GitHub, a subsidiary of Microsoft that hosts the code for hundreds of millions of software projects. That tosses up a red flag right there. Remember what I was just talking about with AI-generated malware and computer viruses? Beware, beware. GitHub made it by training an algorithm designed to generate code from AI startup OpenAI, there it is, on the vast collection of code it stores, producing a system that can preemptively complete large pieces of code after a programmer makes a few keystrokes. A recent study by GitHub suggests that coders can complete some tasks in less than half the time normally required when using Copilot as an aid. Now, coders get paid a lot of money too. I think like last time I knew coders, like if you do computer if depending on your level of skill, I suppose, for lack of a better term, right now, you could make anywhere starting salary of like 70 grand, something like that. Or they work long hours though, and I can't imagine. I remember when I was really young, like when I was learning, like I learned like basic computer programming language when I was like really young. I'm talking like when I was like sixth grade, something like that. I started playing around with basic computer language. That was like before C++, C++, and all that, and Visual Basic. And I'd make like cheesy little computer games and stuff like that when I was a kid, like text-based computer games. But this stuff that they're talking about here, this stuff is just nuts. And I thought, well, I was going to say, I thought I wanted to be a computer programmer until I reached the end of high school, and then I realized, like, yeah, I would be living behind a computer. But I guess we've kind of come full circle, I guess, because I guess in a roundabout way, we're all kind of living behind a computer these days, one screen or another, whether it be in your hand or, on your lap. But as some coders quickly noticed, Copilot will occasionally reproduce recognizable snippets of code cribbed from the millions of lines in public code repositories. I see, I didn't even know that. I guess it makes sense that you could copyright computer code just as well as you can copyright prose in a piece of fiction or nonfiction. I mean, it makes sense. You're still using a language. It's computer programming language. So I'd imagine you'd probably be able to, copyright code just as well as anything else. I don't know exactly how that works, but maybe you have to patent it instead. The lawsuit filed by Butterick and others accuses Microsoft, GitHub, and OpenAI of infringement on copyright because this code does not include the attribution required by the open source licenses covering that code. Well, there you go. Programmers have, of course, always studied, learned from, and copied each other's code, but not everyone is sure it is fair for AI to do the same, especially if AI can then churn out tons of valuable code itself without respecting the source material's license requirements. Quote, as a technologist, I'm a fan of AI, end quote, Butterick says. I'm looking forward to all the possibilities of these tools, but they have to be fair to everybody. See, here's the thing. It's like a double speak thing. You know what I mean? It's like almost like trying not to step on anyone's toes. Don't want to take a strong stance like a yes or no against or for the AI, but at the same time, kind of like a want your cake and eat it too type of situation. There's these folks where it's like, want the cake and eat it too. I don't know. Me personally, I'm just like, I don't want it. I don't even want to get involved with it. I mean, I can see, I say that, but I can see like how, maybe there are some artists that would like to use it in kind of derivative ways. Like, for instance, like, say you just like want to draw, like, for instance, like comic book artists or something like that, or maybe even actually screw that, I'll come up with a whole new example. So we'll say like game development. So like when you're working in game development, say you don't want to hire artists and stuff like that to just make or spend your own time just making fucking textures. Okay, making textures for your digital assets, for your 3D assets or whatever. So you just use AI generated images to create, generic textures for you. So whether it be grass or sand or a rocky terrain or something like that, you know, I could see, you know, AI generation like being used as a tool in that sense, where it's just kind of derivative, you know, it's like these little things. But I mean, then again, you still have to, I still stand by what I said before. Like, if you're going to use this AI technology, you have to accredit that in your works, because it takes away from the merit. I stand by that stance. If you use generative AI technology in your artwork, then I think it takes away from the artistic merit of the work. Not to say it takes away from the artistic value of the work, because like I said, there's plenty of people out there using this stuff, and it creates a lot of pretty pictures that people are clearly appreciating. Objectively, they are appreciating this stuff. So therefore, when things are appreciated, that means they have value. Now, it's a subjective thing. Would I pay money for it? Probably not. Probably not. Like I say, I like my art the old-fashioned way, and I would just, if I want art, I would rather just hire an artist, you know. But yeah, but that's neither here nor there as far as the article goes. Let me check in with you guys, see what you say again. You're talking about in regard to this lawsuit. Is that what that was about? I missed the context on that one. D.A. Bell says, yeah, imagine how companies are going to adapt them into the workplace to lay off employees. Oh boy. Yeah. And that, like, people think like this is like, yeah, this is a win for the indies. No, it's not. It's not a win for the indies. It's a win for big corporations, because all your asses are going to get fired. Yay. And then you guys are going to be indies like the rest of us. And you're going to have to, you know, build up your own thing, just like all the rest of us are doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, it's no skin off my back. Like, I'm indie through and through. I'm good with it. But I'm just saying, a lot of these like career guys that, you know, they've acquired a shit ton of fucking college debt, and they're out there and they've been busting their ass to build up a career. That's why I say that another hot topic was that you're going to see, I think there's going to be, as we move into the future with this technology, the technology is a double-edged sword. It always has been a double-edged sword. So you have to learn how to adapt with the technology. Once the genie, especially in this case, once the genie is out of the bottle, you can't put the genie back in the fucking bottle. It's out. It's gone. He's out there. It's already done. Done deal. So now you got to learn how to deal with it. And that's the tricky part. How do you adapt? How do you move? How do you navigate with this new variable, this new ingredient added to the mix, creating further complications and convoluting all industries, apparently, as this sounds, because we talked about the music too, and you can use, there was actually, I thought it was pretty interesting. I saw a tweet where someone asked the image generation AI to create a, it was like sound bites or something, like, I don't know, like it created like, I think it was like an image of like sound bites or something like that, like music, like a piece of music, and then you could turn around, take that image or whatever. In some way they made it so like it could turn into music, put it into a different type of AI tool, which then converted it to an actual sound bite. So it was very interesting as far as that goes. But yeah, everything's being affected, all forms of media. So in regard to the Copilot, what was that? What were you referring to? Okay, so so with Tom, let me go on. So that's what I was talking about. So with Thomas Donk, the CEO of GitHub, says that Copilot now comes with a feature designed to prevent copying from existing code. He says, when you enable this, and the suggestion that Copilot would make matches code published on GitHub, not even looking at the license. It will not make that suggestion, he says. That was a hard fucking sentence to read. Whether this provides enough legal protection remains to be seen, and the coming legal case may have broader implications. Assuming it doesn't settle, it's definitely going to be a landmark case, says Louis Villa, a coder turned lawyer who specializes in cases related to open source. It says Villa, who knows GitHub co-founder Nat Friedman personally, does not believe it is clear that tools like Copilot go against the ethos of open source and free software. He says, the free software movement in the 80s and 90s talked a lot about reducing the power of copyrights in order to increase people's ability to code, he says. He goes on to say, I find it a little bit frustrating that we're now in a position where some people are running around saying we need maximum copyright in order to protect these communities. So there you go. Open source, now a part of the generative AI debate. What do you guys think? Open source. They need stronger and more strict copyright law and licensing as far as that goes. Perhaps this could lead to more regulation, which, being someone involved in the indie market, I absolutely do not want more of. I just, the idealist in me really wishes that this shit wasn't a problem, or wouldn't be a problem, or shouldn't be a problem. But unfortunately, the realist in me understands the human condition enough to understand that this shit is going to be a problem, that it's effectively, inevitably going to be a problem, because there's going to be ways in which the AI can be used to, skirt the legal system, unless something is actually done about it. So we'll see how that one plays out. Let's check in with you guys one more time before we sign off on this segment. Herman comes in. Herman says, the other downside is that if you train an AI on crappy code, the result you get is, you guessed it, crappy code. Garbage in, garbage out. And D.A. Bell, one example I always use is that if you're a content writer loaded with work, you have a deadline coming, go to Copy AI, input a prompt and get the output. Tweak the text. Mention it's AI generated. So that was what they were saying in the article, is that some people were, and I've been aware of these. I've been aware of like the text-based AI before, because there used to be, like, it was an application. I don't know if it was the same thing, so long ago. I never used them. I was aware of them. Where basically, because I used to be really into like blogging and stuff, when I first launched my website, and I mean, there was these things where it's like these AI, it was an application or whatever, where it's like, it was scrape articles on the internet or something like that, or you upload an article. I don't remember how it worked, and it would basically, it would just kind of put out a new article that was effectively in the same context. It was using the same words, it was using the same type of subject matter seemingly, but it was clumsy, it was clunky, and it read like a piece of shit. and it didn't really work that well. But it was effectively like how you were saying, being used by some bloggers, black hatters, and stuff like that as kind of like a starting point to basically continue to pump out content on their blog. And I was always took the stance, because that was a big debate among bloggers, was is it the quantity or the quality of the content? And I was always took the stance of content is king in that regard. Like I would rather have less articles but more substance and value in the article than to be constantly pumping out content. And I know that's like not a lot of people like to hear that term. Oh, Rainer's in the house. What's going on, bro? Right on the tail end of the topic, Rainer chimes in. It's going to be cheap way to steal stuff. More or less. I mean, that's what they're insinuating with that article. The article talking about stealing computer generated code that is sidestepping the legal system as far as licensing goes. That's it. You guys want to, if you guys, anything that I talked about here during this episode of Hot Topic, go ahead, share your comments down below. I will address your comments live on the air during a future show. Or if you want to create your own video in regards to this topic in the article, I will be putting the link of the article in the description down below. So if you want to read it for yourself, review it, talk about it, what have you, and you want to chime in, go ahead, tag me in your video or share the link if you do upload a video, and I'll gladly watch it, and I can perhaps I can share a little commentary, and we can kind of continue this topic that way. All right, let me move on to a couple quick announcements. I got something I wanted to share from the Discord too, so let me get this segment going here. Did you have a good Christmas, Rainer? All right. So as you know, this is the last Monday Night Live for this year. I will be the first show that I do for 2023. I'll be doing kind of something a little bit different. I might do a recap of all the previous goals that I had and things that I did for this year, and kind of see where I'm at as far as milestones go, and kind of like discuss what my plans are moving forward as far as the show goes and the things that I want to try and do here. But also, so one thing I'll say to you guys, the easiest way we try to spread the word around and kind of build this up as like a platform, not only for myself, but for any of you guys, just for the indie scene in general. I'm here for it. You know, I'm a real one as far as that goes. I've been real with you from the start as far as what my intentions are with the show, what it is that I'm trying to do here. And for you guys, if you want to get the easiest way to get your work featured on the show is to just go ahead, join the LFLR network on Discord. I started the Discord not too long ago. It's still pretty small in terms of numbers, but again, it's not about the numbers, because it's not. I didn't create the Discord as a as a place for chit chat. If you want to chit chat, you can. I have rooms for that. I have channels for that on the Discord server, and you're more than welcome to chit chat. And I'm sure, as the server gets more members, it's only inevitable that people are going to start getting to know each other. I want it to be a place where people can freely network with each other. You can make connections. If you want to share your own anything, like I say, you want to share your books, your blogs, your own website, your videos, your own YouTube channels. You run your own indie label, you're launching an indie label, and you got submission calls, you're looking for writers for projects, artists for illustrations, book covers, what have you. You know, you got crowdfunding projects, Indiegogos, Kickstarters, or if you're just an avid reader and you are starting your own little, you have reading events, or you're starting your own book club, and you have a Facebook group or something like that, please, you are more than welcome to share all the links on the server. That's why it's there. That's why I started it. And what it also provides me is it gives me something to talk about during my Monday live stream. So whatever you share with me on the Discord, I can turn around and I can bring it here onto the show, not only make my audience aware of what you have going on, but it also provides me with something to talk about on a weekly basis. And we kind of get, I feel like it's just too perfect. You know, it's a win-win situation. It's too much. We're all winning, people. Don't you like winning? I like winning. Winning, right? Like Charlie Sheen. That's all. That's me. That's you. That's we. Charlie Sheen. We're winning, people. Let's do it. You know, you want to succeed at whatever it is you got going on, you got to be willing to make connections. And one thing I noticed with Discords, okay, because I found this new site, it's called Disboard. It's basically like a community board for Discord servers specifically, and I signed up for that. Basically, what it does, it kind of helps increase the reach of your server and expose it to other people, but it's supposed to be an advertising thing. So far, it's not really doing much of anything, but I'm trying it out. But it has helped me because I actively look. I always take a proactive approach. I go looking for shit. I don't, just sit on my hands. Like I'm always looking. I'm looking for new people in Authortube, new people in Booktube. I'm looking for these new Discord servers that I can become a part of. So then I can in turn find where all these creative writers are hiding at and these artists are writing at. So I can then make more connections and try to build the network up. So it's all a win-win-win-win-win situation. Now, the thing about it is one thing that I noticed with a lot of other Discord servers, they have a lot of these fucking rules, man. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, what is the point of being indie? And then you're just going to turn around and you're just going to recreate the wheel and become a fucking gatekeeper. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't get it. I don't get these people that go indie and they start to build up a platform only to turn around and become a fucking gatekeeper themselves. And I never fucking understood that. And that's definitely, I'm telling you guys right now, that is definitely not what I'm going to become. I'm not going to become one of these people. Like I bust my ass and I build up the network, but it's not just me doing it alone. I have to have other people that are helping out in their own way as well. So whenever you guys share stuff with me on the Discord, like I'm saying, I consider that you contributing to the show. You're doing something. You're being proactive. You're showing up in the chat. You're showing up in the chat while I'm live, participating in the show. That's being proactive. And hold on. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there. I was seeing what DA was writing about. So that was let me go to the Discord here. Let me just check in on the Discord real quick, because this is what I would like to do. I would like to basically lessen my load as far as social media goes, and do less fucking Twitter stuff and all that, and just kind of be able to just be like, fucking zip right over to the Discord, just see who's sharing what, and then I can just boom, I can pop it up on the fly. That's what I would like to do. None of this extra. I don't want to do, because right now I do a lot in terms of I'll produce a show, I do the post-production on the show, then I do the next day, I got to do a highlight clip reel of the show, which is editing, breaking it down, and then share that across a whole bunch of social media. So my job doesn't end when I hit end broadcasts on Monday nights. Like, it continues on like throughout the week. So I'm doing a lot on my end in order to be able to try to help whoever it is that contributes to the show and is an active, proactive participant of the show. I'm helping you in that way so you guys get the most bang for your buck in terms of you putting forth the effort that you do on this show. That's how I appreciate you guys as far as that goes. But there was this, on a lighter note, I just wanted to bring up, I did notice something, Christopher Magnus, since we did share his book tonight, I did want to bring up a piece of artwork that he shared. Okay, so we shared his book tonight, which was the Intergalactic Information Superhighway. And this, let me get this off here. This comes directly from the Discord in the artwork section. So he's coming up. I don't know if this is his final cover, but let's give him some input, guys. This is a book cover for his next. It claims that this is concept art. Okay. So I assume that means this is not the final cover. I'm assuming that's what that means. This is not the final cover. Let me see here. But this is so he says, so that was book one that we covered tonight, the one that is available. And then this one is called On Hardship's Wake. And this is book 2 of the Intergalactic Information Superhighway by Christopher Magnus. Now, one thing, remember last week? It literally was just last week. I covered a sci-fi book, and it had a similar type of cover. And I had made mention of that too. I was like, these sci-fi books have these similar type of covers where it's just like this uniquely shaped spaceship, and it's always heading towards a galaxy. I mean, or a nebula or a freaking black hole, which the last one, it was heading towards a black hole. This one, we got a spaceship heading towards a black hole. Now, am I missing something here? Like, I don't know. I don't get into space operas. I don't get into space-based sci-fi fiction, like science fiction. So maybe you guys can explain it to me. I don't know what the deal is with these type of covers. Like, to me, this cover doesn't say anything to me. That's just me. I don't understand it. Like, to me, it's just a spaceship. And it might as well be out in the middle of the freaking void. Is that what it is? Is this a symbolic thing? Like, the whole traveling through space, is that a symbolic thing for, like, the human experience traveling through the void, through the unknown, and heading towards a black hole? Like, what does that mean? Like, the spaceship heading towards a black hole, is that like the ultimate unknown? Is that like heading into, into the maw, staring into the maw, if you will, and saying, fuck you, and I'm heading right in? What I think, from an outsider who doesn't read from this genre, okay, looking in, let me just say this much. Is there a character? There's got to be a character, right? You got to have a main character. Is there an alien race or anything like that? Because one thing I'll notice, if you can see my cursor here, I'd say, like, if you, the typography is I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, typography is a little bit lackluster, and I know you just shared the artwork. You didn't ask for my opinion, but I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you. You can take it or leave it. You can tell me to go pound sand. Do what you're going to do. But I'm just talking here. But I'm just saying, from an outsider perspective, looking in, I would sprucing up the typography. This is the white lettering. I would change the color of that. And then this spaceship, like, say if you move, you could keep the spaceship if you want to have the spaceship. I don't know what the deal is with it. Maybe it's a big deal, the story, having the spaceship on there. But say you have the spaceship, maybe you move it over a little bit on the first third of this box over here. Move the black hole more of, like, say, like right in the middle of the typography, and then somewhere along this edge, like over here, say you like superimpose one of the characters. Like, say you superimpose the face of the main character, or say you have like several faces lined up the side right here of all the main characters. So, like, say you have like the main human character, and then say you have like, maybe you have like a couple human characters, like they're the main protagonist or something like that. And then like up here, like a little bit larger, you may have like the main antagonist, like say it's like a fucking, like if it's an alien guy or whoever it is, and you could have their face like superimposed, like kind of looming over the two protagonists, while you still have the spaceship like over here on the left, and it's heading towards the black hole over here. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying like if that makes sense with the premise of the story. We did read, the blurb for the first one, how much, that things may change from book 1 to book 2. But, just some suggestions, one artist to another, one writer to another, as far as that goes, being an outsider looking in, take it or leave it. And I feel like, if we can't talk to each other as artists and writers and as peers, then what the hell is the point of this whole social media thing, And that's what I want more of as far as my Discord goes. If we could do something like that and I can incorporate it on the show, that'd be fun. I'd enjoy that. Not saying just being critical of it, but just, shouting people out, showing off, doing a little show and tell. What do you guys got? Rainer's. Oh, okay. You guys are having your own conversation. All right. So as far as one more announcement, again, still doing the Storytellers Society. Maybe you guys want to get in on this while the getting's good. Still accepting open submissions. The Storyteller Society is a little side project I launched earlier this year. It's just another way of me trying to reach out and create opportunities to collaborate with my peers and with other writers out there in the creative sphere, and provide you guys with an opportunity to get some published work. So, like, say if you're an aspiring author and you've yet to have any of your work published, this might be an opportunity that you would be interested in. And if approved, you were looking for flash fiction, mind you. So flash fiction anywhere from 500 to 2,000 words. It can be any genre whatsoever, including if you want to write a literary fiction piece, that's acceptable as well. And if approved, you will book yourself a room at the Hotel del SS, where your work, all your contributions to the Storyteller Society, you can actually contribute as many times as you want. And each piece will go through an approval process. And if approved, it will be published for public viewing for free. And it will be available 24/7, 365 on the Live Free, Live Rich website. So you will actually have some writing credit. Is basically a way for you to expand your creative portfolio and add some credits to your own portfolio. I like that. I want to see, you know, I would like, you know, I try to lead that and take initiative and kind of like, that's something that I feel like I would like to see myself as well, like with other people who are involved in the indie scene and kind of already have some platforms built up. And there are some out there, and I've been trying to make contact with them. I don't want to talk about anything just yet because I don't know, you know, if people want to remain, you know, kind of private with what it is that they have going on. So I never, that's for me, it's like a permission thing. I always like to have people's permission before I share anything, hence why I call it you guys contributing, and not just me sharing what it is that you have without your permission. So let's go into, speaking of sharing, I had someone share some story, something for me to read tonight. What's that, DA? Is it serialized? No, it doesn't have to be. You can use it that way if you want. So say, for instance, okay, it's the reason why, the way that I set that up, you can go, if you go to the website, the link is always in the description down below. It's actually down there right now. You can check it out. So you go under, just click on description, click more, go scroll all the way down under the announcements section. You'll see there's a link to Storyteller Society. You go there, it'll bring you to the website, and then it tells all the criteria and all the details. And you can use it in creative ways. The way that I set that project up is I made it so it would be open to the largest variety of possible fiction. Like, I don't want it to be, say, because you know how there's some people, it's like, oh, it's just horror prompts, or it's just, you know, romance prompts or something like that. Like, I want it to be open to all types of different writers. So that's the reason why I made it. And I came up with this hotel idea. So it's like each individual room in this fictional hotel can present a completely different fucking experience. So it's almost like a magic hotel, if you will. So each hotel room where there is an author who books a room at the hotel is there, that's there where the magic happens in their own individual room. So if you wanted to set up your room, so like say you submit a piece and it's approved, okay, a piece of flash fiction, and it's actually part of a bigger story. You could do that if you wanted to. If you wanted to have more of a serialized type of thing, and you could do it that way if you wanted to set it up that way. All right. But each piece would be kind of like a standalone thing. Do you catch my drift? So that's what I mean by flash fiction. Flash fiction is a complete story. It's a complete story that within 500 to 2,000 words. Typically more like around 1,000 words, 1,500, but I expanded it to about 2,000 words, give you a little bit more room to play around. Speaking of stories, let's go into reading time now. And I do actually have a piece of serialized fiction to read from tonight. This comes from somebody that has contributed to the show on many occasions. Has yet to show up for a live stream, though. I'm surprised. I wonder if he's in a different time zone or something. Should comment. And this is from the Bulletproof Poet. He writes, so I had this opening line, and I knew I had to do something with it. Simultaneously, across the world, everyone hears a voice. In 2 hours, the server will be shutting down for the full 14 days. Thank you for playing human. And this tonight's little reading presentation is Human, Episode 1, Shutdown by Ismael Rodriguez via his Kindle Vella. And I thought the premise of this was very, very compelling. Definitely got me interested. This is the type of sci-fi that's right up my alley. All right. Human by Ismael Rodriguez. The world is an MMORPG. Maybe. Are you a player or an NPC? It's a question. Video games, sci-fi, science fiction, and fantasy adventure, action adventure, drama, suspense. All the spicy tags for a science fiction thriller. All right, let's get into it. Running tight on time. Simultaneously, across the world, everyone hears a voice. In 2 hours, the server will be shutting down for the full 14 days. Thank you for playing Human. The announcement of the server shut down left many players in shock and disbelief. For the past few weeks, Human had been gaining traction as one of the most popular online games around, with millions of players from every corner of the world logging in to experience its unique gameplay and immersive world. The servers were down, leaving the player base in chaos. Many players had lost their jobs, homes, and even their families. They were all looking for a way out and a new way to play. Human, the game that had become the rage of all players, was now the last game they had. There was no going back. The game had reached the point of no return, a game where the players were no longer able or willing to take the risk of being the first to the next server, a game with a time clock where they would never be able ever to win. The server was down. We were on a mission. We were going to do this. Our mission was to get to that planet and get there as quickly as possible. The first thing we needed to figure out was how we could get back home. After a few hours, who's we? I'm wondering already. Maybe we'll find out. The first thing we needed to figure out was how we could get back home. After a few hours of trying to find a solution to our problems, I decided to go for it. I had to make the decision to jump or not to. If I didn't jump, then I was dead. So I jumped. My heart was beating fast as I made the choice. The ship was moving. All I could hear was my heartbeat pounding in my chest. When I looked up, I realized I couldn't see anything. So I turned to my left and looked down at the floor. Everything was black. There was nothing but black, no stars to be seen, nothing, just black space and nothing. And then, suddenly, it was there, just as it had always been. In the distance, I could see something that looked like a small planet, maybe a few miles away. I thought, this is a nightmare. Then I noticed a small light, like a star in the sky. As the ship moved, the light grew and grew, as if it were a light in my head. A light that was not a planet. That was the first clue. We were moving. The ship's sensors were telling us that we were in orbit of a star system. One of those stars, a red giant, which was about 1,000,000 times more massive than the sun. Fun fact. So, we had no idea what we would face, what the hell we should expect, what we were supposed to expect, really, because we were going back to Earth. That's when it hit me. We weren't going anywhere, ever. We were on our own. No one would ever come for us, not even the government. Maybe that would change, maybe it wouldn't. Really having a hard time trying to understand what the hell is happening right now. Not gonna lie. I knew then that the aliens would kill me before I feel like we're missing some backstory here. Like we're just thrust into the middle of this guy's fucking unorganized thoughts right now. Stuff is happening, but it's disorganized. I knew then that the aliens would kill me before we even got there. What aliens? You know what I mean? You're just now mentioning aliens. What aliens are you speaking of? We were on the way to death, not just to prison. So now you're a criminal? We. Who's we? You and your crew? That was all I had to fear. For now, I just wanted to make the best of what I'd been given. What were you given? So I pushed the button to jump. And then there it is. That planet in that universe. That's what they call home. Was this written by an AI? Home is a place where you can go to, where there are people who will love you and who won't judge you for who you are, where you're free to live and work and be whoever you want to and love who and where. Yeah, this is definitely written by AI. I'm sorry, Rodriguez. That's home. Not a prison, a home, or a death sentence. Home is the place. If you guys understand in the chat, if you understand where we're at right now, maybe I'm missing something, please let me know. Humble me in the chat. I don't care. You guys won't be out of line if you do so. You can be free there and be whoever you please. Free to be. No. Prison is where people must stay locked up for the rest of their life. Death is just a way to end your life, to keep you from living. What did I just read? Death is just a way to end your life, to keep you from living. Is that a quote? That is the quote of the night. Oh, death is just a way. Okay. You can never get out of it. Never. And I thought I'd been there before. This is great. My father had told my mother when we were in prison together, my homeworld. He had been in jail too for a time. His home was the prison. In the end, he had escaped, had a chance to go back to his world, to visit his family. I feel like this is the scribblings of a madman right now, what I'm reading. And I am starting to really enjoy it, I have to say. I'm getting a kick out of it. Had been in jail too for a time. His home was the prison. In the end, you don't understand. He had to escape, had a chance to go back to his world, to visit his family, see his friends, his home again. To go, that's my Shatner, to go on with his life. He had been given a chance, a second chance, a chance for me to take. So I did. We had both been sentenced. We had the chance, if we wanted it, for us to return to the home we loved. Now it's time to come home to that. Come home. He said that at the moment. I knew he was right. Come back. Come back, he said. Come home. And we did. A couple weeks after that first visit, my dad and I were back in the city, back in our hometown, home city. I felt like I had just been given a new life, back to my own world and my family. This is home, I said to myself. This isn't a punishment. The next time we got home from prison, I thought, this was just a sentence. But the truth was, my parents were right. If we weren't home in the morning, we would never have the opportunity to escape. So, what was it about home that was so important? And that is the end of episode 1. I'm speechless. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. The premise, the premise sounded good to me. He shared it. That was my first read through. I don't review the stuff that I read, you guys. I just get links. I assume if it's on Kindle Vella, then it's appropriate for me to read on YouTube. It's all artistic expression, so it's appropriate. It falls under, policy and all that. But in terms of the writing and all that stuff, I don't review this stuff before I read it on air, you guys. This is just stuff that the publishers, the authors share with me themselves. They give me the link, I stick it in the queue, and I pull it up live on the air. So that was my first read through. So you guys were hearing it the same time as I was. You saw that death line though, huh? That brought a tear to my eye. That was a beautiful quote. All right, guys. I got one more lined up. We got one more segment. You thought we were done. No. I got to make it quick, though. Well, we're going to go over 2 hours, but we do have a featured video for tonight. And this is a show that I am familiar with. It actually comes from another network here, another independent network here on YouTube that I have become familiar with over the past few months. And that is a YouTube channel. Well, first, let me bring up the, oops. Brought a tear to my eye. At least it wasn't too long. That's all I have to say about that. All right. So this comes from Ron Lahr, writes on Twitter. He says, check out the season finale of Mean Reviews, No Stars Given, with guest host Grant Ayers, as we review the fantasy novel Demon Scroll by that author there, and book 1 of the sci-fi series Lone Wolf Squadron by Jamie Davis. All right. I have actually watched a few episodes of this show, and that Ron guy, I do get a kick out of him. And this is Mean Reviews, Season 1, Episode 11, the season finale with host Ron Lahr. He welcomes Grant Ayers. So that's his guest host. And comes courtesy of the YouTube channel Go Indie Now. If you guys want to look it up, of course, I will be leaving all the links in post-production, so you don't have to worry about that. You just tune in later if you want on the replay. Let's bring this up and get down to business, shall we? It's a little bit of a long one here. I think it's about 20 minutes. It's half hour. Half hour. I'll try to keep the commentary light so you can get through it pretty quick here without going too long, but we'll run it. I still want to run it regardless. All right. Can you guys let me know if it sounds too loud or whatever? That'd be helpful.
Hello, and welcome to Mean Reviews, No Stars Given. Tonight is our special Christmas episode, as well as our season 1 finale. My guest co-host this week is Grant Ayers. Welcome, Grant.
Hail.
Thank you for joining us. Now, before we get into the first review, just a quick note about comments. We welcome every single one, but we'll only be looking at them right after we review each book. So remember, a little context would be extremely helpful at that point. Thank you. Also, please hit the like button now before I say anything that offends you. Thank you. All right. So we will jump right into our first review, if I can bring the cover up. Whew. Oh no, I got rid of it. Well, that's awful. I blame me, but apparently I deleted the cover. Oh, I can't believe it. All right, let me grab it. I'm going to just grab it. I have it sitting right there. All right. We'll pretend this never happened and never said do it. But here we go. Our first book to review is Demon Scroll, Demon Hunter Book 1 by Tim Niederreiter, which is a great name for a writer, by the way. Excellent job to Tim for being born with that name. Here's my spoiler-free synopsis. The first book of an epic dark fantasy series where wizards read scrolls that contain trapped demons to access their power. The heroine is a warrior returning from Mexico who may need to do just that in order to stop an invasion. That's all basically from the book's blurb on Amazon, because I am getting lazy since this is the last show of the year, and I'm pretty hungry because I don't get dinner till the show is over. Anyway, let's get right to the things that we like. I like...
Such a professional, Ron.
Christmas. Which is really lucky for me since it is currently the Christmas season. I love the decorations. I love the food, the smells, and of course, I'm quite fond of...
Supposed to be talking about the book, Ron.
That's probably my favorite part, really. I've received many wonderful gifts over the years, and just a friendly reminder that there is still time for all of you watching at home to get me something amazing before Christmas. Although I'm happy to get gifts at any time. You don't have to wait for my birthday or some holiday. You can give me gifts every day if you want. Just saying. But since I like Christmas, I think as an author, you need to, or it is smart to consider when your audience will be reading, or in particular reviewing, your book. This is our Christmas show, so it would have been smart to make Christmas a big part of the story. Unfortunately, Tim did not do that. Not only is Christmas not an integral part of the book, it isn't even mentioned once. I mean, who has ever heard of a fantasy world without Christmas? I mean, lots of authors, sure. But I'm here to tell you that they all made a huge mistake. And that means Demon Scroll gets 0 out of 1 Santa Clauses from me. But what about you, Grant? What do you like?
All right. See, no stars given.
I love
0 out of 1 Santa Clauses.
I love lobster, fish, crab, whatever. There. And you know what? As an author myself, I feel like food is a very important thing in a story. It can bring great symbology and great meaning. Now, the book Demon Scroll doesn't have that much food in it, unless you include humans. But
which I don't think we should do for legal reasons.
Definitely not. We're not Jeffrey Dahmer here. But I would have to say, because of that, it gets it gets like 1 out of 5 lobster tails for me.
Wow, that's generous. All right. Yes. We're going to move on now to what we don't like. And I don't like scrolls. They are unwieldy. They wear out my arms. Storing them is a nightmare. I prefer books. They are much easier to take care of. You don't have to try very hard not to squish them. And since I'm old, I really like physical books. But I have to admit that ebooks are lighter. And to all you authors out there who might want to be featured on the show, don't even contact me if your work is a scroll, because we do books and movies here. No scrolls. Now, Demon Scroll is a book, so it can be reviewed here, but it's mainly about scrolls. So I have a strong suspicion that the review is not going to go well. So, in fact, I would have to say that Demon Scroll gets 0 out of billions of reasonable, normal, non-scroll books from me. What about you, Grant? What don't you like?
See, what I don't like is Halloween.
I don't even know if they're critics.
Halloween.
To be honest with
It's
you,
dark. It's scary.
the show itself
And there's
is
always
entertaining
kids
to
trying
me.
to take my
It's
candy.
like they're non-critics.
No. And for that,
Mean reviews, but he's like
Yeah.
being a non-critic.
now what this book is, it's big, scary, and
Not really
if it was
criticizing
probably
anything,
a
but at the same
person,
thing, he's turning it
would
into a
definitely
joke.
take my candy. So for that, negative.
However, I would
negative
like
points.
to hear them say a little bit something
get
about
it.
the story itself,
All right.
as if they read it.
Let us
You know what I mean?
let us now talk about things that we like about the book. that
Things we
can
like about the
share
book.
without spoiling the plot. Would
Here
you
we
like
go.
to go first, Grant?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of great things about Demon Scrolls. Like for instance, I love the descriptions and the dialogue. Dialogue was very sarcastic and just bold. I love it. It was very serious at times, and there was just little breakaways that I could just eat up. It was amazing.
Nice. All right. Now, I also liked a lot of things about this book. First, it was a book. If it would have been a scroll, I'd have been furious. Second, I like the magic system in the book. I mean, I don't want to get into it real deep because I feel like that, would provide spoilers. But it is quite imaginative, and I think it's well thought out. Now, third, I think the book is unique in a great way. I do read a ton of fantasy novels because it's probably my favorite genre to read. And I read a lot of indie fantasy novels, particularly on Kindle Unlimited. And sometimes in my memory, they just merge together because there are so many similarities between them. The setting, the characters. I mean, they're just comfortable old friends. And I don't mind that. But I definitely love it when a book stands out. And this one did in a good way. But sadly, now we have to do the actual awarding of less than a full star to the book. I'll go first. I give Demon Scroll, Demon Hunter Book 1 by Tim Niederreiter, the Christmas-hating, scroll-loving fantasy adventure, 1/4 of a star. And that's actually, that's more than I thought I would give it when I started.
You're breaking protocol.
So
it's no
congratulations
stars
to
given,
Tim.
Ron.
Merry Christmas.
You got to have a different scale.
Grant, now it's your turn. What portion of a star do you?
You gave it like some food item.
Do you want to think a quarter?
I give it
very
a
accurate.
quarter of a Christmas ham.
Well, then let's go look at the comments. It's gonna take me forever to get there.
I used to. No, I'd drop some.
I
would drop some. I tune into these types of shows.
Right. I don't understand
guys,
this
I
one,
suggest
but I'm
you
going to
go
put
over
it up here.
Check out Go Indie Now. They do
put up a square. So
Square.
I don't know what to say to that, but the author himself is here. And he's wearing pajamas. I believe he said. I'm not sure how to take that. What he means by that.
It's part of his shtick.
Maybe he's like wearing his like Christmas pajamas.
Kind of turns it. It's kind of a joking
that would be
thing.
Smart. That might have got him more points.
I think they did read. I think they do. They have read the book.
Nice. And he liked the cover. Me too. That was.
But they're
and
very
it's a new one actually. There was a different cover. New cover. Came
like
out.
I said before,
so in the
they're
promo,
kind of.
got a different cover from what I
from the episodes that
I
watched so far.
It's
pretty loosey goosey when it comes to how he talks about them. I think it's more of like. I think it's more of a
wonder if
show where
that's
it's
the
just kind
same
of
cover
raising
now.
awareness for the work than it is
But yeah,
actually
everybody loves
discussing the book itself. You know what I mean?
And it's a great question. Why does Tim hate Christmas? Yeah. And then he doesn't even deny it. He just says,
That's my take on it, at least. Because
So,
as you can
all the
see, he's being
people
kind of a
here, a full lobster tail. It's true. I was shocked.
not
too.
really being too critical of it, but at the same time, not really
And then
wanting
here's
to
Anita.
like
She's Canadian,
analyze
so
it too
she's very
much as
sensitive.
well.
She's accusing me of scroll bias. And Rob Billiou was writing his latest book on a scroll.
A square.
No, don't do that.
Not even a star.
See, I don't believe
Jocelyn,
that's true. Which
no stars given. Jocelyn.
all my kids are old. Rob
Let's see
has
how
like
it is.
a half a dozen kids, 50 kids. He's got a lot of kids, and well, it is true. I am a little bit of a Luddite. Demon Scroll would bully you and take your candy if it were a person. Now, yeah, and which only made it attractive to Nikki Nelson Hicks.
That's why I got negative points.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure what evidence Rob is basing that on. But all right. Thank you for those comments. Please keep them coming. We will be back in and check comments again when we finish reviewing the second book. But before we do that, it's time to get to know Grant a tiny bit better. So, Grant, I'm going to make you big.
Woo.
Yeah, there you go. So please, tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Grant Ayers. Amazing. I have been an author since I was 17 years old. Here's my first book, The Inevitable War, Godslayer Book 1. I am an indie author, which means paid for it. But otherwise, I write books all the time. I have a few free books on InKit. Go check them out. Most of them are fantasy. I'm a fantasy writer, and it's pretty much it. I'm boring.
I like what these guys are doing over there. Like I said, you go check out their channel. Go Indie Now.
All right, let me
they do like here. It's a group of them. It's more of a group. That's how they run their network, and different members of the group have their own shows.
I cook, I bake, I garden, I
so
write.
So Ron does this show. That's his show, and then they have like
books of the Capaldi Chronicles.
Other members of their group that have their own shows,
like You Get
but
What You
on
Steal,
the same channel.
I think is an awesome title. I also write completely serious self-help books like You're as Stupid as You Are Fat, How to Talk to Women. All of my books are available on Amazon. I also host this show that you are watching right now. And I have another show, Indie Mayhem, which is a game show with indie authors mostly as the contestants, which will be back for season 2 next month, as will this show. A little surprise announcement. I'm also going to have a special on the Go Indie Now network sometime next year.
Maybe I can get on that game show, Ron.
I can't go into a lot of detail about it yet, but I can tell you that my Indie Mayhem co-host, Robin Burchett, will be partnering with me to do the special. So I'm very excited about it. It's very new. I can hardly wait. Unfortunately, all of you are watching this show, so we'll just have to make the best of things and soldier on. But, well. But it does mean that it is now time for book 2, which is Marshal the Stars.
A uniquely shaped spaceship flying into space. Except that one had a planet.
Spoiler-free synopsis is, and this time I'm just going to read the blurb and not even pretend that I'm not. A lone wolf pilot, a debt of honor, and pirates on the Federation frontier. Fighter pilot Beau Ward was always willing to bend the rules to get the job done. His independent attitude got him bounced around the Federation fleet for years until he took it too far. A long-standing debt has been called in, and he's the one who must pay it back. Beau's actions land him a last-chance command in the frontier system of Tardex, with the order to assist an old friend and shipmate whose family has been torn apart by pirates. Tasked with commanding a collection of misfit pilots, Beau must gather the squadron, scrounge for ships, and rescue the captured colonists before it's too late. A Pricolici engineer, a former scrounger from the Skane mob, a grizzled Marine sergeant, and a green recruit. What could go wrong? Can Bo hold Lone Wolf Squadron together long enough to stage a rescue? There we go. Let's jump right into our likes. I like knowing who wrote what I'm reading. Most times, you can tell by looking at the cover of a book, which I'm gonna bring the cover up again. But normally they put the name of the author right on the front. And in this case, you can see the book has two authors, Jamie and Michael. So who wrote what? I have no idea. There are no helpful clues like the author's initials in front of each sentence, or half of the book sucks and the other half is good, so you just have to find out who the crappy writer is. Nope. Unfortunately, this book is seamless, and I would swear only one person, or AI, was responsible for all of it, which was quite distracting. After the show, I am going to ask Jamie to highlight all the parts he wrote in yellow and all the parts Michael wrote in blue, and then I'm going to request that he leave it like that for the next edition.
Never heard of co-authoring before.
But either way, because of my wasted time trying to figure out who wrote what, Marshall the Stars gets 0s out of 2 authors. So how about you? Oh, Grant, I should bring you back to the show.
And
Grant's back, everybody. It's not just me anymore. So Grant, what do you like?
See, what I like is I love swords. They're sharp, they're pointy.
See, this kid gets it. He understands the premise of the show.
Great battle scenes. Now, as for Lone Wolf Squadron, they didn't have any.
That's true.
That I saw or read about, which is sad because that kind of removes an important element for fantasy for me. So,
well, and there's pirates. There's pirates and no swords. What is happening?
Right. So negative points again.
So I have a question for you. What about machetes? Are machetes enough like swords to count for you? Not that there were any in the book. The only reason I ask is I have 5 machetes of my own, and they're around the property at different places, so that no matter where I am, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I will have a machete nearby. You know,
that does strike up an interesting point. I think if you were to use them as a sword, then they definitely count as one. But altogether, even in that situation, that it's more of a survival tool than anything.
Not the way I use it. I fenced in college. I was on the fencing team for a while, and you can't fence with a machete very well. but I mean, I know some real sword play, so I definitely use it as a short sword and not just a hacking tool. But anyway, if anybody's thinking about gifts, I could always use more machetes. So anyway.
And I could always use more of my books.
Oh, well, that makes sense. All right. Let's move on to our next part, which is things we don't like. Now, I don't like paying taxes, and I am old, so I have paid a bunch of them over the years. I do want some of the things that taxes pay for, like roads. But now that my children are grown, I don't want to pay for public schools. So some of the things that taxes pay for, I do not want. The reason I don't want to pay for public school is that I hate children, especially other people's children. And I think it is unwise to educate all of them anyway.
You broke up there a little bit.
Bring back child labor, I say, and save us all some money in more ways than one. What could be a better Christmas gift for a child than not having to go to school anymore? I can't think of one. I want everybody to think about it. The more you know, and all that. How does that relate to Marshall the Stars? It doesn't. Not everything is about Marshall the Stars. even during a review of Marshall the Stars. I was just thinking about taxes and hating children. So here we are. And what are you going to do, people watching? It's the last show of the season. It's the last show of the season. Fine. I'll tie it to the book by saying there aren't enough people in the book who hate taxes and children. There is a little bit of forced child labor, though, and I did like that, but it was not enough to save the review. So Marshall the Stars gets 0 out of 8 tax protesters from me. Thank you. What about you, Grant? What don't you like?
I don't know how I'm going to beat child labor.
Yeah.
But oh, I don't like chocolate.
Oh.
Too sweet, always melts in your mouth, and yeah, at that point it's just sugar making you fat. So
yeah, you're not convincing me. I think
you lost him.
Please go. And I'm fat, so no.
And for Battle Flight, I don't think chocolate was mentioned ever once. So yeah, I think that's one of the benefits.
All right.
And so
Go ahead.
Oh, I apologize.
Well, no, let's just move on to the things we can talk about that we liked without spoiling the plot. I loved the artificial intelligence of the Lone Wolf Squadron's base. Can't say much about it because it would spoil the surprise, and I don't want to do that. But I enjoyed
So they say something that they don't like, but it has. They say something that they don't like, but it has nothing to do with the book.
Of my age, I think it was.
Then they talk about something specific that they
made
do
for
like.
People
that does have
around
something
my
to do
age,
with the
maybe
book.
older even. The other thing.
See what he's doing here?
I also liked what Bo does at the beginning of the book to get into trouble and get assigned his position as commander of the Lone Wolf Squadron. It kind of ties into my
Not
dislike
everyone
of
likes
young
chocolate,
people.
Jocelyn.
And
okay,
it was awesome.
I do.
So people should read the book just to read.
I think chocolate
just to find out what those two things are. I think. But how about you, Grant? What did you like about the book that you could talk about
Hershey's
without spoiling the plot?
I like Hershey's dark chocolate.
That's hard. See, descriptions.
That's why we get the big bucks, Grant.
Descriptions.
You ever had Ferrero Rochers?
Like, I love
gourmet
the stars.
chocolate.
I like the battleships. I love the fight scene. Yeah, it was all, I could see it like a movie. It was amazing.
I agree. Very well written. Created a very believable and complete universe to play in.
It reminded me a bit of like Halo. Have you ever read those book series? Or
I have not.
You haven't? Well,
no.
You should.
I tried playing it, and I was really bad. My kids killed me all the time. I didn't. And I played it on my Xbox, whatever version of Xbox I had at the time, and it was awful. So that didn't inspire me to want to read the books. I was like, am I going to suck at reading the books? Like suck at playing the games? Forget it. I didn't want that kind of trouble. But all right, let's. Oh, I did want to say I loved the races he created. I may not know how to pronounce them, but I did love the alien races he created. As another thing I liked that I can talk about without spoiling the plot.
Tongue twisters. Those names were sometimes.
Yeah, there were some. All right, it is ratings time. I give Marshall the Stars, Lone Wolf Squadron Book 1 by Jamie Davis and Michael Anderle. Actually, this is a tough one because I was going to give it 3/4 of a star. But sadly, we're only featuring Jamie Davis on the show. And since there are 2 authors that wrote this book together, I'm going to have to cut that in half and only award 3/8 of a star. I mean, that's just math. I mean, my condolences to the families of both authors, but I got to be fair, All right. How about you, though?
I was going to give them a full star, admittedly.
Oh my.
But you brought up a good point. So I have to give them half that now.
I agree. I make great points all the time. Don't listen to my wife. I make great points all the time.
Hey, wisdom comes with age.
Well, that's true, but also a little mean.
Ron.
All right, let's look at the comments one more time. Let's go. Oh, nice. We got hit by some bots with. I'll share those in a minute. All right, I'm trying to find where we were. Our last comment was this, and even Tim said only moderately good. I guess my birthday present from Ron is for him to skip my comments. I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel bad. You know how bad I am at getting to the comments. However, we have a bunch of these comments for anybody who's looking for adult dating chat free. All right. Oh, and yeah, that's a great point. Happy birthday to Joe Compton, the founder of Go Indy Now. That's a great point. Ooh, that's a great point.
Imagine sharing a birthday with Jesus Christ.
Well, the worst part is, you get Christmas gifts and birthday gifts this close to it. You don't get as much as if you got, your birthday was separated more. That's right.
Yeah.
I'll get up to show. Yeah, hey, my fucking show. I can do whatever I want.
Plus, you're kind of like the underdog every birthday. You're good.
Just kidding. I just stare at myself in the mirror all the time. Rob knows me. And look at this. Somebody backing up Grant here. Anita. Agreeing. Oh no, now we've really, everybody's on the bandwagon.
See?
Everything is better with laser. I wish I had a This is a very serious and great point. If there is a zombie apocalypse, everyone should come to my home because all the food, we got food.
A farm.
We got machetes. Yeah. I mean, you guys will have to stay in the, the workers' quarters, but still. I can fence and, now I don't. Now that I'm old, it would probably be really bad. But I used to fence and foil. Oh, sorry, I need to ask a question. We all practice with everything, but I like foil because you could take the foil and
I think he's just going through comments here.
Point it down at the ground and flex it down and let go, and it would shoot up. And you could. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, I forgot to take. I always do that. I forget to take the last comment off. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. Before I do the weekly automated wrap up, I just want to thank everybody who participated in season 1 of Mean Reviews, No Stars Given. The guest co-hosts like Grant here, the people who let us review their work, everyone who watched and commented. It has been so much fun that we will definitely be back with season 2 near the end of January. Have a great Christmas or whatever other holiday, and we will see you next year. Thank you for watching Mean Reviews, No Stars Given. Please like this show and subscribe to the Go Indy Now channel. I'd also like to thank
Grant Ayers
for being today's guest co-host. You were magnificent. Everyone should buy your
voice
stuff.
dubbing there.
I was truly lucky to have you with me here on the show. We should totally hang out sometime because we are very much actual, in real life friends. I also need to thank the 2 writers or filmmakers,
very genuine outro,
who agreed to let us review their book or movie. You are very trusting, and I appreciate that. Even though their stuff is not to my liking, as evidenced by the fact that they received not even 1 star from me, I recommend that you purchase their work, even if it's just out of pity. So thank you.
For Demon Hunter Book 1, Demon Scroll by Tim Niederreiter.
And also
for Lone Wolf Squadron Book 1, Marshall, the Stars by Jamie Davis.
You 2 are the best. If you would like to have your book or film reviewed on this show, please email me at ronlodellar@gmail.com. That's almost it. In fact, there's only one thing left to say, but it's an important thing. So remember,
it's always time to go indie now.
Exquisite. It is quite a clever show, I have to say. Thanks for sharing that, Ron. All right, guys, that's it for me this week. I want to thank everyone who showed up live, hang out in the chat. And for those of you watching this on the replay, go ahead and you can drop your comments in the comments section down below. Let me know you stopped by, and I will address your comments during the next live stream. And again, I hope you all had some fun. I hope you all discovered something new. And guess what? I will be back here for you next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a good week.